According to the informational website autismspeaks.org, autism spectrum disorder, also known as ASD, and autism are both general terms for a group of complex disorders of the brain development. These disorders are characterized in varying degrees by difficulties in social interaction, verbal and nonverbal communication, and repetitive behaviors. They include autistic disorder, Rett syndrome, childhood disintegrative disorder, pervasive development disorder, non-otherwise specified as PDD-NOS, and Asperger's syndrome. ASD can be associated with intellectual disability, difficulties in motor coordination, and attention and physical health issues such as sleep and gastrointestinal disturbances. Some persons with ASD excel in visual skills, math, music, and art. With the definition of autism constantly changing and adapting, the amount of children affected by autism are constantly increasing. Autism affects three primary areas ranging from a child's social, language, and behavioral characteristics and skills. Some social characteristics that affect students with autism is a lack of understanding social cues such as voice and facial expression, and the lack of empathy. In the area of language, children often lose the ability to say words or sentences and usually do not make eye contact when making requests. In the area of behavior, children often become disturbed at the slightest change in routines and rituals and often perform repetitive movements such as rocking, spinning, and hand flapping. Within the three-ring model of agriculture education, theoretically both FFA and SAE rings come after the classroom component. Even though we as agriculture teachers all have our preferences, I do believe when working with students with disabilities and autism, creating a strong classroom relationship will allow the transition to getting that particular student more involved with FFA activities much easier. Within the classroom, studies have shown that cooperative learning and group methods are two of the most beneficial teaching techniques used to teach students with learning disabilities. Along with partner work, applying teaching practices and activities that are constantly repeated and turned into a routine can allow a student with disabilities to be more successful in and outside of the classroom. In the world of FFA, I do believe students with autism can benefit from competitions that provide structure and organization. To preface this topic, I would first like to mention that each student has separate individual needs, and it's difficult to group students with disabilities just into one specific category. Depending on that student and what studies have shown to how and where students with autism can succeed is where I make my opinion. Specifically from contests such as the FFA Creed and Prepared Public Speaking, I believe these two contests rely on the application of repetitiveness and constant practice of the same material over and over again, which may provide a source of comfort for a student with autism. Other competitive FFA competitions often rely on a student's ability to react and utilize their knowledge very quickly, which may be too overwhelming to a student with a disability. Then again, we face the component in a public speaking contest of open questioning. This does require a student to think and articulate an answer quickly, which may be the downfall of participating in competitions. Because of my lack of experience in working with students with disabilities in the classroom, my vision as far as a student with disabilities entering a competitive competition is not about winning. The competition then becomes about the student's level of participation and confidence they are developing throughout their time and practice they spend competing in that competition. In the area of FFA events and conferences, some occasions may be too overwhelming for students with autism. With a high level of enthusiasm and energy during an FFA conference, I can see the benefits to a student with disabilities to be surrounded in a positive atmosphere. But then again, I can see the discomforts for a student because of all the theatrics and unexpected scenery of an event. CDE competitions that provide structure and materials that do not require a high level of impromptu thinking, I believe can benefit a student for the most part. For examples, I believe a student with autism can benefit from a competition such as Specialty Animals Judging Team. This CDE competition requires students to memorize various dog, cat, small animal, and livestock breeds, which makes practice very structured and provides a routine for the student practicing. Overall, any FFA event, competition, or activity that provides a source of clear instructions, a thought-out plan that is very well organized can benefit any student with autism. Remembering that any student may be affected by some sort of disability reminds us as teachers that we must view our plans from a big picture standpoint to encourage all students to participate while constantly fine-tuning our specifics to help them succeed.